Thursday Night Football, Week 5, Broncos versus Colts. No one could have predicted what was about to unfold before a national television audience. Medical staffs were trained and at the ready, but medical school didn't prepare them for this. 12 punts, 4 interceptions, 6 fumbles, and 0 touchdowns. It could have been the statement game the Broncos needed. It could have been a redemption story for Matt Ryan and a struggling Colts team. Instead, it was a goddamn abortion. Some even called it. October 10th, 2022, Denver, Colorado. The Denver Broncos hosted the Indianapolis Colts at Empower Field at Mile High. Perhaps there was too much parity in these teams. Both teams were without their top running back. Both were helmed by veteran quarterbacks in a new situation. And both were underperforming. The head coaches were filled with anxiety. And if they weren't, they should have been. It was still early in the season, but there remained little doubt. Their jobs were on the line. This game should have provided some clarity to one fan base about their future. Even with the trepidation, camaraderie remained high amongst the players. The shit had not yet begun to hit the fan. It wasn't long before chaos arrived. As the Colts mounted an offensive, running back Nyheim Hines took a big hit. When pulled to his feet, he wobbled and needed assistance. They pulled him from the game and later diagnosed him with a concussion. A heavy cost to leave the game, but one that in retrospect may have been worth it. If he was resting comfortably and eating pudding while not watching this game, he was indeed the lucky one. Both teams sputtered and failed to gain ground, the theme of the evening, and a painful one. By the end of the first quarter, the Broncos had managed a field goal. When mined for sideline nuggets of knowledge, Colts coach Frank Reich said the offense just needed to find its rhythm. The announcers, having nothing of discernible value to speak about during the game, shifted their focus to the past, pointing out that both franchises had become offensively bankrupt since the loss of Peyton Manning, whom, as it turned out, was looming over the game from the shadows like a vampire with a giant bulbous head. Bobblehead Dracula. Another Broncos drive was retarded by the Colts and resulted in a trio of points. Under pressure, Matt Ryan threw a pass to the wrong team, but the Colts finally got a field goal of their own. Finally, an act of mercy as the Broncos took a knee to end the half, entering halftime with a score of 6-3. When asked about the underwhelming start to this game, Broncos coach Nathaniel Hackett said the offense just needed to find its rhythm. The biggest play of the night came from pass interference committed by a referee. Russell Wilson went deep to a pair of receivers, and the referee got tangled with the defender. It was a big gain for the Broncos, and a huge loss for the referee, as now there's visual evidence tying him to this game. The crowd collectively held their breath as Russell Wilson finally threw a touchdown, only to see it knocked away by a defender. There is only sadness. After Wilson threw a second interception, he attempted to stop the defender, only to get knocked to the ground. It was enough to send him to the medical tent, aka boo-boo camping. Backup quarterback Brett Rypien started warming up, disturbing seismologists worldwide as everyone in the stadium shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The Colts matriculated the ball into the red zone, where they were flagged for a delay of game, thus delaying the game even further. Please know, the Colts lined up for a field goal to tie the game, and the Broncos called a timeout, because time makes field goals anxious. Eventually, the field goal was kicked, and the wretched carcass of this game dragged itself inexorably toward overtime. Like any villain, this game lacked the good sense to die. Some fans had seen enough. They headed for the exits. 4 quarters of this, shame on you. sticking around for overtime. Shame on me. Commentator Al Michaels, who until this game was a very jubilant 25-year-old man, said it best. The fans have had enough. Sometimes you just gotta beat the traffic. The Broncos sent out their kicker for the coin toss, fitting since he was the only one to score any points that night. Amazon put the overtime rules on the screen so you could read along at home. Thursday Night Football, the book. Matt Ryan dinked and dunked his way down the field. The defense was so gassed, their third and fourth string running backs finally found some yards. It was just enough for the Colts to get another field goal. The Broncos found similar success against an equally tired Colts D. But on 4th and 1, they found themselves at the precipice of a decision. Kick a field goal, run the ball, or throw. They opted for the latter. With only a yard needed for a new set of downs, Russell Wilson's pass was broken up. The impossible had happened. The game had ended. Colts win. Or do they? What is the cost of war? Fans who watched this game from ass to tip described the experience as harrowing. For the Broncos faithful, it was their Vietnam. Several of the referees walked into the ocean. Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit were finally released from their vault, which, as we all know, is sealed prior to the game and unlocked only after its completion. Once vibrant and filled with vigor, the pair looked like old newspapers left in the rain. They were haunted and broken. The look in their eyes would disturb children for weeks. Always upbeat, Al Michaels tried to dress it up. Sometimes a game is so bad it's almost good. You know what I'm saying? Herbstreit spoke for us all. No,